I couldn't be more excited to install these new parts. Let's get started after the intro. On the last episode, I spoke about getting some new parts for my 911. I got the parts last week and I already inspected it. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. Here's the boxes. Let's go ahead and open up the first one and it'll give us a hint on what I bought on the bottom. So you notice these are some OEM exhaust gaskets. I got these from FCP Row. So this is for the headers. And then these are the two that's going to the cat. With that said, it pretty much gives you an idea what's on the bottom. Let's go ahead and check it out. So I was able to source these headers. These are Top Gear, which are from the UK. And these have been Cerakoted already. I got a pretty good deal on Renlist, and the previous owner only put about 100 miles on it. It was a little too loud for his taste, so he put it up for sale, and I was able to get a good deal for it. Here's a better view of the headers. It has equal length tubes and 3-to-1 collector. What I'm going to do now is lift up my 911 and put some jack stands underneath for support and start removing the OEM headers. My car is already lifted up in the back. I'm going to try to take as much video as I can while I'm doing this. Otherwise, I'll be also taking some pictures and providing explanation step by step. Here's underneath my car. You can see the exhaust manifold right here. There's going to be a total of 6 screws that I need to loosen. This area here, you can tell that I put some PB Blaster to kind of loosen up the screws before I can take them out. And then up here is the other gasket that I'm going to replace. And there's also 13mm bolts. And then just up here is the catalytic converter. So I'm going to disconnect it from here too. I was able to get the passenger side headers out without that much problems. So let's go ahead and compare it with the aftermarket ones. On the top is the OEM headers, and then the bottom is the aftermarket ones. So you can tell already that the ones on the bottom are equal length as far as the piping, whereas the OEM ones are different lengths. And also the bottom one also has a 3-in-1 collector in the bottom here, whereas on these they have the individual pipes going to the main one. So I got my scale set up here. I want to weigh my OEM one and compare it to how much the difference is with the aftermarket one. So here's the OEM one. $5.895. So the aftermarket one is $9.285. Now that my headers are out, I'm going to go ahead and grab my gaskets and I'm ready to install the new headers. I just about finished up on installing my new headers. I wasn't able to film that much, but I'll go over some of the items that were roadblocks for me. Here's the passenger side headers. They're all bolted up and torqued to spec. And then on the other side is the driver's side. So everything went pretty well. I did have a couple of snags along the way. Let me go ahead and show you some of those items. Here I had to elongate a little bit because it was a little bit offset. The rest of the bolts were okay. And then I torqued everything at about 20 foot-pounds of torque. I had to do a little elongating on the passenger side as well, but the other bolts lined up pretty good. So after all this work, how does it sound? All right, the moment of truth. Let's hear it. Slightly deeper go out for a little test drive, kind of see if I can feel any difference from the old setup compared to the new setup with the headers. Notice that there's not as much drone as the previous setup. I do feel a little bit more lower end push, lower end torque, but it's just a slight difference. It's not much of a difference. Let's go ahead and try to push one more time. It definitely feels a lot faster. I tell you that. I didn't notice as much as the first pull, but there's definitely a lot more power in the lower band area. Okay, got my dinner. Gotta cruise back home. Gotta kind of take it easy a little bit because my consommé might spill. But I'll record some footage just so you can hear the exhaust. I'm definitely happier with the setup on my 911. Although it's a little bit more heavier, I do notice that the tone of the exhaust is a little bit more deeper. As far as the power difference, even though it's minimal, just by observing it with the way I drive, I do notice a little difference. This modification was something that I've been looking forward for a while now, and I was glad that I was able to use the Porsche forums online to source one for a good deal. So coming up next, I know I've been talking about it for a while, but the carbon fiber GT wing that's right behind me, I'm finally gonna do some renders or mock-ups and see how it look like on my 911. And if it's something that I wanna pursue, then we'll start putting that to action. That's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.